Welcome to another edition of Handicap Born Black in America. I'm your host, Ramon Roan, and this is being brought to you by Judicial Freedom Riders. We're a nonprofit organization, and we are looking for memberships. You can become a member for $36 per year at www.jfrinc.org. Our mission is to reform our justice system. John and I can't do it by ourselves. We're looking for some fighters. We're looking for some people that are tired of being tired. Again, look us up at www.jfrinc.org. You can also subscribe to this channel. That also helps us. Now, the title of this video is called Black Republican Candidate. Again, the title of this is Black Republican Candidate. Now, I know many of you probably have heard about which I'm going to do a segment on this, about the minister or preacher, pastor up in Chicago that endorsed a Republican candidate, and he received death threats, which I'll get to that later. But I thank God that we have some pastors, some people of the cloth, men and women of the cloth, that will stand up against what is going on, especially in our community. Now, Alabama Darius Foster, he faces off against perceptions about black Republicans. Now, historically, our first party affiliation for black people after slavery has been with the Republican Party. In fact, Frederick Douglass was a Republican, and there are many black Republicans throughout the years. Even to this day, there are many black Republicans. However, they're being called all kinds of names. However, what I don't understand is that on the Democratic side, why are you going to use the name, why are you going to call these people Uncle Toms and sellout and what have you, when if you study the history of the Democratic Party, you'll say, wait a minute, the Democratic Party, they're for gay marriage, and that's what your thing is. They're for abortion on demand, if that's what your thing is. They are for many social programs, if that's what your thing is. That means giving away free stuff. Actually, there's nothing free. There's a cost behind it. That's what they're for. So, but all of those things, they actually hurt the black community. How does gay marriage help the black community? How does abortion help the black community? How does the welfare program that was instituted help the black community? It doesn't. We've been harmed by these social programs. How does Women's Lib help the black community? Like what sister named Scheherazade Ali, I believe her name, says that the black woman never had a problem with a black man. They didn't. So what's the deal with that? Now, let me give you a little bit of just a history on the Civil Rights Act of 1964. And here's how the vote went. The vote went as such. The House, Democrats of the House, there's 153 that voted for the Voting Rights Act, rather the Civil Rights Act. And out of 244, that's 63% of the Democrats in the House in 1964 that voted for the Civil Rights Act. Now let's look at the Republicans. Remember now, Republicans. Of the 136 out of 177 Republicans, that's 80% in the House voted for the Civil Rights Act. Let's do this comparison. The House Democrats voted 63%, and the House Republicans voted 80%. Let's look at the Senate. The Senate, which is 46 out of 67 Democrats, senators, Democrats, That's 69%. 27 of 33 Republicans voted for, that's 82%, voted for the Civil Rights Act. So here you got Republicans, they voted a minimum percentage of 80% for the Civil Rights Act. And the same thing could be said for the Voting Rights Act the following year. So why are you calling the Republicans racist? I don't understand. What the Republicans stand for is actually for freedom. Now, Darius Foster is hoping to be elected in the District 56 as state representative for Alabama. Well, you know Alabama was a notoriously racist state, and it probably still is racist, no doubt. But you think about it. I believe it was Wallace that was the governor. It wasn't a Wallace that just said that he didn't want no Negroes inside their schools, inside their colleges. He stood at the door to block the way until the National Guard had to come out, the military had to come out to make sure that those kids are able to go to college. That's Alabama. Here it is. You got a brother that is running for an elected office as a Republican. Now, before you start to complain about, throw names out at me or Republicans, and I'm not a Republican, I'm independent. I believe that I'm a Christian, and Christian, there is no division in the church. So I'm not dividing myself. I'm independent, because there are bad Republicans as well as there are bad Democrats. So I believe there are more bad Democrats than are Republicans. But that's an argument between me and John. We will have that argument happily soon. Now, so if African Americans, which, by the way, I believe the number is something like 90% of black people that identify themselves as Democrats. Now, what does that tell you? Let me tell you what it tells me. Is that if racism is our enemy and racism can play on both parties, shouldn't we be evenly divided among the parties at least? Should we be evenly divided? But if the Democrats know that, look here, we got you. We know where you're going to vote. We have already done to give you free stuff all these years. We know that you're loyal to us. Well, guess what? They don't have to do nothing. Many blacks have been complaining about that Barack Obama hasn't done anything for them, and which is true. We have not. There are more blacks in poverty. More blacks have gone through foreclosure. More blacks have lost their job. More blacks have. There are more blacks that are incarcerated right now. We have not made any gains during the 6 years that President Obama has been in office. And what have you gotten for your loyalty to that president and that party? What have you gotten? It's gotten us nowhere. So we need to hold those elected officials accountable. If not, they don't get our vote. Now, Brother Darius Foster here is trying to right a wrong. And the wrong he's trying to right is that we understand that there must be diversity amongst our political class. We must be diverse. If we're not diverse in our political class, we're going to get exactly what we've been getting for the last 6 years. So we need more blacks running for office as Republicans, just as well as we still need them as running as Democrats. There needs to be a balance. But guess what? We all can be, whether you're a Republican or whether you're a Democrat or whether you are an independent such as myself, we all can be in the same struggle for justice, same struggle for civil rights. So let's don't give the enemy, which is the enemy. I'm not talking about the white man as the enemy. I'm talking about the racism as the enemy. Let's don't give them too much ammunition. Let's work together